Hi there, this is Loren Fogelman with Business Success Solution. You are in for a fantastic conversation that I'm having with Donna Crawley today, where we're going to talk about some of the things that have actually changed her business around that you can apply to, because the things that she's talking about only happened since March when everybody went into lockdown and everything changed since COVID. But before that, I just want to let you know that I work with accounting professionals who are ready to double their income, working half the time by focusing on pricing strategies, how to be able to find where you're leaving money on the table, and really have a business that supports your lifestyle instead of the one that drains the life out of you. I want to let you know a little bit about Donna. She is founder of DMC Business Services, and she started off with achieving and acquiring one of 16 positions at Intuit to test QuickBooks before it even went public. That began her life as a tech nerd until 2014. And in 2014, she was part of an 800-person corporate layoff. As you know, for many of you, being laid off from corporate is what allowed you to step into this next part of your life of having your own firm. And that's how she began her business as well. Donna is currently a QuickBooks Certified Elite Pro Advisor, a Certified Master Advisor, and also, since Donna has a love for software, she's a QB app recommender. Her deep knowledge of payroll, coupled with a knack for team building and understanding business personalities, are the perfect fit for her practice and finding what is best for her clients. Donna, thank you so much for joining with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. I feel very honored to be with you, Loren, and to be able to share what little knowledge I have to the rest of the world out there and my colleagues, of course.
Great. Let's go ahead and just dive in. I wanted to know, what were some of the ways that you previously charged your clients, and what are some of the changes that you're making in your business right now as far as the pricing piece?
Quite honestly, when I started, I had no idea what to charge, and I completely undercharged myself, and it was hourly, and then the hourly became higher and higher, and then I charged by project. So it really was highly undervalued rates.
I think that that's actually true for most of us, because we all start out as being employees working for somebody else, as was for you, and then we become business owners. But there's not a lot of people that are really adequately teaching about the pricing piece, so we kind of stumble along. And because of that, what do you feel that you're doing differently in your business than when you first started out?
Taking a deeper dive into people's relationships. And I really believe strongly that we all need to have strong communication and build relationships with everybody that we encounter, because those are going to be relationships we're going to have for years, not just 1 week. And I think that's a really key point that I believed in everything that I do. And I was omitting a factor in realizing how important that was in gaining a client.
Oh my gosh, I think that relationships are actually underrated. And it's part of why so many accounting professionals are moving into the business advisory focus instead of just focusing on the technical part of it. And part of what I know is we met at, I believe, QuickBooks Connect a couple years ago and have stayed in contact since then. And anything from our relationship or connection that has really influenced some of the changes that you're making in your practice right now?
Debunk all the old myths that people tell you about accountants. Be yourself. And I've sort of evolved to be myself more and more every day. And it's the more authentic you are and how real you are and how much you put that into your practice, the more you can gain people that will be part of your belief system.
I also know that part of growing a practice, which is true for most of us as business owners, is that not only do we need to grow the business, but a lot of times we need to do some of our own personal work in order to really have that successful business. And that we've had several conversations around getting out of your comfort zone. Can you talk about how you've been really stretching yourself and getting out of your comfort zone, and what happened to really help you do that?
Well, one of my big problems was work-life balance. So that was my word for the year, was balance. And, trying to realize, it's okay to do something differently, and to realize what is good for you. And every day you need to take time for yourself to understand what's working, what's not working, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what are you doing that's not right. And even if you are having conversations that don't feel right, you need to analyze those things and find out what's good and what's not good, and throw out the stuff that's not working. And initially that felt like an obstacle, but if you don't listen to that and progress forward, that obstacle is going to stay an obstacle. So make it an opportunity for you.
I love that, turn your obstacles into opportunities, but a lot of times we overthink things. It feels like a risk and we delay making that decision. What are some of the obstacles maybe that you had to really work through in order to start putting some of these things in place?
Overthinking. That's exactly that. It's my worst enemy. And then the self-loathing bit. And we're this worrying, like, is this really going to happen? Am I going to be worthy of this? And whether or not, clients are going to really respond properly. So I don't think it's a matter of that. I think it's just a matter of moving forward with what feels in your heart the right direction, and not stopping that.
Oh, that is so key. I think that once you started to unleash your brilliance, Donna, that some of the things actually then contributed to growing your bank account. And what are some of the things that you see that have allowed maybe a better type of client and one who values what you have to offer start to show up, and what's been the results in your practice because of that?
The funny thing is, I just got finished the Master Advisory Program with Mouse, and got transformational advisory thing, and I thought that would be so much fun doing that. So I got a couple of clients doing that. And early on in the year, when we started having COVID, there's a few people I was working with that lapped off, and I had some year-end goals that weren't working. So I thought, oh, this is not right. Something's got to change. So I had this big gap where income was not really happening, and I thought, I've got to change something. And then I was wondering how it's going to happen, or if it's going to happen. And I thought, it's got to happen somehow. So doing that with all the reworking, reprocessing, letting go, moving on, I sat down and looked at what's happening now. I could potentially be making a whole year's income in a couple months coming up, what I was earning like last year, So that's a change that can happen very easily. Just get 3 or 4 of those really good clients, and then you're just moving on.
Okay, and I want to repeat what you're saying is that you are now in a place because you've been getting out of your comfort zone. You've been taking charge of your business instead of having your business take charge of you. As a result of that, you're now earning what was previously a whole year's income in just a couple of months. Am I correct? Did I hear?
Well, last year's, let me see here, I have to think about that. What's going to be the next?
Do you want to share some numbers? Because I mean, we're numbers people here. So do what feels comfortable for you?
I don't really like sharing numbers because I wasn't turning out very well. But not the whole year, but I could say probably, I had an original goal of doing $120,000 this year, okay? And I was getting about 8,000 something the first month of this year. And I thought, that's good, that's not bad. And I was dipping, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do, quit? So now I can see myself getting about 12, between 20 and 12 the next few months. So think about that mathematically.
That is wonderful. I mean, I just want to say that is really kudos to you, and some of the changes that you've been making is having a 6-figure practice, because it shows that you're really doing a lot of the right things. And what I see is that when your income increases, it's basically a reflection of the fact that you're making a difference for somebody else in their business too. And I know that for you, so many things are energetic. Does that feel true for you too, Donna?
Yes. And the other thing is, I didn't really have any lofty goals. I didn't want to necessarily get to 500,000 and have, a team of 20 or anything like that. I might hire a couple people, but that's not where my head's at. The thing is, it can get to a higher level. It can double that. But the point is, if you see yourself with value, you're going to get value and you're going to have more time for yourself. And right now I'm also working on a couple of books in the morning. So how does that change my life? It changes myself in a whole lot of different realms that you would see me in, like last year.
I remember that one of our previous conversations was about taking Fridays off. Is that something you've been able to do yet?
Not every Friday.
But you're taking some Fridays off, right?
At least not more time.
Okay, that's a move in the right direction. We're going for progress, not perfection here.
Exactly. Yeah, it's getting there. And actually, when I take some time off, I've taken some time off in July and some time off. I'll be taking some time off in this month and next month. I'm just going to block 4 or 5 days off every month and say I'm not here. Nobody needs to know where I'm at. I'm just not here.
I agree with you. The other thing I want to say is not only have you then increased your income, but you also are not working 5, 6, 7 days a week any longer. And that is something to really look at also, because so many accounting professionals have to sacrifice other parts of their life in order to earn more money. And you've been able to make some strategic moves to be able to start separating your income from your time. And with thinking about that, then, have you changed how you started quoting your projects where you're focusing on value instead of time?
I don't even talk money until we get to, I feel like there's going to be an agreement gained. So don't talk money until you get a verbal gain agreement, gain that agreement. So I've had some people I've been talking to a few times, and they wanted a price list and they want this and they want that. I said, well, you guys let me know when you feel like talking again. We'll have another webinar. We'll talk some more. But, until that happens and we feel comfortable with each other, there's not going to be any money conversation.
So, some of the things that you've mentioned that I want to just make sure that we're all on the same page, because I want people listening to this to have some takeaways, is you realize that you were overthinking some things. You made some decisions to shift how you approached talking with people when they first reach out to you. You also have slowed some things down where you're not talking about money first until you knew that the value has been already established. And you're focusing on the outcome as opposed to the tasks, really helping them to advance their business or achieve something specific for themselves. Did I miss anything, Donna?
You nailed it, hon. I like to see a client that has a vision for themselves. So they're not going to come to me and say, and have an outcome that they're desiring. Like, where do you want to go with this? Where do you want to see at the end of this project or your relationship with me? What do you want to achieve? If they don't have an idea, then we need to figure out what that idea is and what their value really is.
When we first started talking about this around March, I know you were in the process of adding in more advisory services. I also realized that a lot of accounting professionals may want to do that, but then there's overthinking, or who am I, or I don't have enough credentials behind my name to be able to do that. Did you have to overcome any specific hurdles to be able to move more in the advisory piece?
No, just have the conversation. And secondly, a lot of people in our industry specifically feel that they have to have the CPA, EA, et cetera, letters after their name. I do have a college degree. I'm not a CPA. I chose not to be a CPA. which doesn't really matter because there are a lot of CPAs out there that don't want to be CPA tax people either. It really matters on what your skills are in your engagement with the individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see personally a lot of clients that I have don't necessarily have the same relationship with their CPA that they want, because I found through interviewing them, a lot of times they get a CPA because they just want to see somebody to do their taxes. But that person has no understanding of where that money comes from. They have no understanding of the software. They have no understanding of the client's business. They have no understanding of their, where their money energy goes, So I like building that relationship because I find out people don't know how much money I'm spending on trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much money I'm spending on lunch? And the accountant's still going to tell you that.
Exactly.
I mean, the CPA taxpayer person, tax provider person.
Right, right. And I know that before we started the interview, you were sharing some stories with me, and then you also shared some things previously with me about the different types of clients that you're attracting and how they see the value of working with you. Can you maybe share about one of the new clients that you're now working with and what's different and how they're paying you a different fee than if you would have been doing things maybe a year ago with this person?
Let's talk about the guy that I have with a monthly service. Yeah, that was kind of interesting because I think I got introduced to him through a friend, through a community that I'm involved with, this international Facebook group, through a support group thing. And I just got a little text and said, somebody I know needs some QuickBooks advice. And so I followed up on the text and blah, blah, blah. It turns out this person was looking for bookkeeping on the pretense, but really what he wanted was advisory. So I just did my initial consult with him and asked a lot of questions. And next thing you know, that led to another meeting and another hour and a half of conversation, and got to this discovery, the downfall of his last person was my gain of opportunity, because exactly what I said about some tax people / accountants, and no offense to my colleagues because I love them all, just do the numbers and they don't do the relationship with the numbers. And he wanted to have that relationship with the numbers and that wonderful joy that he felt when he knew what was going on with that. And so when we dealt deeper into that conversation, he's like, I want to pay you more than that. Now he's paying me about monthly, twice as much monthly than what he paid her for, maybe a quarter, I guess.
Twice as much monthly.
Than what he's paid
talking to
her
him
in a quarter. And he said, I'm so excited to work together with you, and as I grow, I will pay you more. And so during our weekly conversations, it's kind of like I have this new brother or something, because I love all my clients. If I don't love them, then I don't need to have them. But anyway, I have a weekly meeting for him on the schedule now indefinitely. So I said, lock this in. That's our time, and that's what I do with my other guy. I have him every Wednesday. So, they know.
And that's the advisory piece.
Yes, that's the advisory piece. So like I said, it was a text that was engaged with bookkeeping, so to speak, but really it's more advisory.
Well, I think that that's the direction that bookkeeping is going in this point anyway, is really bringing in the advisory piece, because that's what allows you to be able to earn more than if you were just being competitive with the compliance part of it.
The other thing most people may not know about me, but one of my favorite classes I took while I was in college was a class given by the very well-known author Loren Fogelman, the guy that created the theory about high-performance organization. So that was one of my favorite college classes years and years ago. So I love doing that now with my clients. So I can teach them how to manage effectively in a team.
Excellent. And is there anything else that you want to share that maybe I overlooked that would be helpful for the people that are listening and tuning in?
When you know you're getting a headache, consuming yourself with too much time on tedious work, give us a call. Your life can change.
Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful thing when you no longer connect your fees to time.
I mean, there's still people I have to get rid of that are doing that, but it's going to be less and less. So yeah,
It's a transition.
it's a transition.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you, Donna, how can they connect with you?
They can reach out to me by texting me, or they can go to my email, which is donna@dmc-qbadvisor.com. And you may also text me if you feel like it, just to chat even, 360-991-8034.
Perfect. And if you are an accounting professional that's looking to double your income working half the time to be able to have a business that is supporting your lifestyle instead of having you sacrifice other parts of your life in order to continue to serve your clients, then absolutely, let's talk. I am on a mission to help accounting professionals turn their business into their personal ATM machine with strategic pricing, being able to separate your fees from time, and really taking charge of your business. Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you so much for having a conversation with me.
My pleasure, always.